We're talking about how COVID has become the great marketing equalizer and how it is shifting trends for social media in terms of how brands leverage social media in 2021. So we're going to empower you today to get ready to shift along with it so that you can have success in 2021 despite all the struggles that COVID is bringing. We're going to talk about the social media aspect of that. You are listening to Black Ram TV, and this is the Gaining Ground podcast. My name is Daniela Sigia. I'm Chief Strategist here at Black Ram Media Group and Creative Director. Okay, let's unpack this. So it used to be that a brand would look at social media as the thing that kind of made you relevant, right? So you wanted lots of engagement, a lot of repetition so that people would know your brand. Oh, I saw you on Facebook. That's what you wanted to hear. And as long as you heard that, you're happy. And that was easy to do. Sales, ROI in terms of sales wasn't the big priority where social media is concerned. What brands depended on for that was, amazing customer service. So when you talk to brands back in the day, how do you guarantee amazing success in sales? They would say amazing customer service, and they would put all sorts of money into making sure that their customers were wowed. If you want to think of a brand, think of WestJet, right? They did whole advertising campaigns on the cool stuff they would do for passengers, just to be nice, right? So that became their actual motto, or it became what they were known for. And a lot of brands were using social media to show that. Right? So it was all about wowing you as a customer. You want to come to my restaurant, you're going to be wowed with the servings. You want to come to my salon, you're going to be wowed because we give you a mimosa. Whatever it is, you wanted to wow your customers. And COVID made it impossible. And COVID shows up and all of a sudden your store is closed, right? So there's no one to wow because no one can come to your business, and reaching your customers becomes difficult, and the wow factor was removed. And as a matter of fact, even for businesses that shifted their operations so that they could do curbside or whatever, keep working, it wasn't to the same capacity. You have to rush your guests out the door, right? It's cumbersome to do the thing. Curbside pickup, there were a lot of mistakes in the beginning, companies trying to learn how to offer that service. It was a big nightmare, and a lot of mistakes were made. So what happened was customers' expectations began to drop. So now there's likely going to be a lineup at your store. There's likely going to be all this other stuff. You're going to wait for the delivery of something, So we're getting used to not being wowed anymore. So instead, your product better be worth waiting for is the new thing that a customer's looking for. Or convince me to use your product because a flashy, gorgeous ad isn't going to do it anymore. Consumers are no longer wowed. When I look at the advertising of the big glamorous brands, and how they would advertise on social media, it was hot, it was sexy, it was really elegant, professional. So then the small mom and pop shops trying to look like those big guys would spend a fortune, and it was difficult. And often you just couldn't keep up. I'm thinking about in the film industry, for example, Black Ram Media Group produces a talk show, the Late Night with Dr. Paul show. And when we're creating the set for this talk show, we're trying to keep up with the Jay Leno's, so we want the set to look gorgeous and elegant because that's what our consumers are expecting. We want our guests to look hot and sexy because that's what they want to see. And that's what we're used to. So we were always scrambling to keep up with the big network show in terms of how big and flashy everything was. Well, when COVID hit, nobody could go in studio anymore, right? Which means everybody's set became redundant. And all of a sudden, people were filming their talk shows at home and were doing it virtually. Now, some of them, big budget ones, I'm thinking Ellen, right? That looked pretty fancy because she lives in a mansion. So didn't matter. She could have filmed it in the bathroom and it would have been gorgeous. You know what I mean? So her show still had that, high-end caliber visual presentation. But there were other very big, popular, political commentary shows, things of that nature, that were being filmed on webcams on a computer, and that was obvious. You could see the background of the guy's office and the kid running in the background, that sort of thing. So it became very real, very down-home real, and that now has become what people trust. Now, there's been a convergence of consciousness also in this capacity, in the sense that at the same time that this was happening, there were people getting very angry at big brands. Now, this has started in 2012, this trend of hating big companies. We used to love the big, monopolies back in the day, right? The bigger the company, the more we were impressed by them. Now we have a disdain for them. So as much as the small mom and pop brands used to want to look like the big guys, and couldn't half the time, now the big guys couldn't be the big guys anymore in terms of how they presented themselves, because they weren't allowed to go in studio anymore. So out of desperation and scrambling, a lot of these big brands started shifting to influencers. Influencers, or even just having their own people start to film themselves at home using product or talking about the service. At home, low budget, nothing fancy, and that became real and relatable. So now it's not cool to be big and flashy anymore. It's way cooler to be, relatable. And the brands that did that saw their sales skyrocket, because now they were real. They weren't just the fancy supermodel, in the picture. It was real women. Sure, because they're influencers, they have a massive audience, so that helps them. But their influencers were real people using real product in their real homes on real non-photoshopped faces. So what consumers want now is real. We're tired of smoke and mirror advertising. We want real, we want connection. And that's what's going to get your sale. And social media is the best place to do that. You don't do that on a television ad, right? But you can do that on social media. And now you don't have to look like L'Oreal, right? You just need to be relatable. Still present properly, but relatable. So that has now empowered businesses and smaller brands, because you no longer have to look as fancy as your competition is. You just have to be more trustworthy than them, or funnier than them, or provide better value, be that in information or in price. So let's talk about value a little bit. Value is also changing. So like I said, it used to be brands would look at social media, just make me relevant. Just as long as they get name recognition, that's all the ROI I need. Well, now, because you can't depend on your exceptional customer service, because it probably sucks with all of these COVID rules right now, the only thing you could do is provide value to your customer. And social media gives you the platform to do that, where you can tell them why your product is the best, all the things that you would show them in the store. Often your advertising doesn't show everything, right? It just shows enough to make them interested. And then once they get to the store, your salespeople can knock it out with all the product information they have about the thing. Well, now you've got to use social media to do all of that stuff. So your salespeople are now selling on social media, not in the sales aisle. And the thing is the social media algorithms don't want you to be a blatant sales thing on their platform. They want their users to get value, and value isn't necessarily a good price on a thing. So let's talk about how social media algorithms look at what value is. For you, value is how many sales an ad or a post is going to generate. That isn't how we used to look at value at social media. Like I said, it was name recognition. Now brands are saying, how much is this ad going to make me? And unless it generates a sale, I'm not interested in doing it. For a customer wants to know, how are you going to either entertain me, inspire me, or teach me something? I don't care about your product, sales, whatever. I want to be inspired. So I'll give you a perfect example of that, Pinterest. So I did some data analytics for a cosmetic brand. And we were looking at what inspires a customer to engage with an ad. Was it because it was visually beautiful? Like, what do they engage with? Is it colors? Is it movement? What was the thing? Well, it turns out for the target market of this brand, it was quotes, inspirational quotes. They were selling a product that was not inspirational. It was a physical product that had nothing to do with inspiration, and yet their target market loves to be inspired. So what do? They shifted their social media. Product video, product photo, quote. Product video, product photo, quote. So every third or fourth post is an inspiring quote. Their customer base loves that. They share those kind of posts all the time. People love to share quotes. So every time you share a quote, you get visibility from someone who maybe otherwise didn't know you existed. They like the quote. They look to see who shared it. Oh, look, they sell product. Look at the product. Boom, you've got a customer. Who would have thought? So outside the box value. So what do customers want to see on social media? They want to laugh. So any ad or post you can do to make people laugh. They want to learn something, whether about it's your product or indirect, something like that, but teach them something. People love babies and they love animals. That's why you have insurance companies using lizards in their ads. Lizards has nothing to do with insurance, and yet one of the most popular insurance companies, and right now you're thinking of the commercial in your head right now, I bet, uses a lizard in their ad. So animals, incredible engagement. They will give you tons of engagement. So if you have a pet at your office, show it on your social media. That will do wonders for you. Truth also with the baby. So babies, pets, inspiration, laughter, information. Those are the 5 pillars of social media content creation. So if you can get that down, you're great. So that's how social media trends are changing. For the consumer wants to be empowered or they want to be entertained. For the brand is now using Facebook less as a reputation builder and more as a sales platform. So people are now using their Facebook ads with the expectations of ROI. The pressure will be on the Facebook ad gurus that are hired to plug in those ads and to do Facebook ad management and things like that, because it's no longer, like I said, a popularity contest. It's now going to come down to numbers, which means if your ads are not generating direct sales, you're going to lose that contract. So everybody's got to prove their worth in 2021 to be able to stay viable. So hopefully this is helpful to you so that you can start preparing your own ad campaigns or shifts in your campaigns in 2021. If there is other information you'd like to see us cover, that you'd like to hear more about, please feel free to reach out at Daniela@blackrammedia.com. And I'd love to hear from you and answer all your questions. And please visit us again, share, like. You really help us out when you do that. Really appreciate it. Thank you for listening to Black Ram Media TV's podcast, Gaining Ground with Daniela Sagia. Have a great day, everybody.